Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League, using my over 20 plus years of coaching experience to give you different insights into all the Premier League goings on and goals and stuff. So we're doing Aston Villa against Newcastle. Villa here is struggling. It's kind of unusual because I thought this was going to be a fantastic game. Villa at home have a great home form, but so. There's also a couple of things with Unai Emery people don't really call out as coaches, and I'm going to call it out. So what he does, he's very pragmatic. He sits back for the first half, waits to see to get into the game, and then tries to attack you second half. Right? Genuinely, that's what he does. Now, it doesn't always work out that way because some certain teams he tries to attack in the first half. He basically mixes up the tactics. You think he's going to sit back, so he tries to jump you, and so on. But here against Newcastle, this is kind of a weird goal, and anyone who's watched my channel before is going to know exactly, because the goal goes in here, and I'll be yelling about people being on the post. But in this situation, we don't need that, because the keeper's covering the front post, so if we were going to have somebody on the post, he would be on the back post over here, and it wouldn't matter, because the goal goes into the front post area here. But I want you to watch how this guy falls onto the floor, and if you've ever slipped on the ice and you just kind of fell on your bum, that's kind of how this guy ends up finishing his goal. So as this cross comes in, let's have a little bit of a watch. Bit of a tussle. Everyone's fighting everybody. Look, no one's even paying any attention to the ball right here. But as we come across, it's a good delivery. And I'm shocked here because also I do rate Villa's keeper. I think he can come. I don't know if he can come out and get this because it's quite. It's such a weird, funky delivery. But you see, if he had stepped 2 steps forward, he could have cleared that ball. It's not one where they're fighting for a head height because it hits his foot and he taps it into the net box. And he's just stone cold rooted to the ground. And he's not been like that. Maybe it's just because they've not been playing, as much football lately over the last couple of weeks. He didn't feel confident to come out and catch it. But I'd expect more from him from that. It's an easy, sloppy goal. But at the time, Newcastle were on top form and they looked like they were going to score. And they do again. Let's have a look at that. Again, it's another corner coming into the box, not dealt with properly, knocked out. And I think this is quality. Great technique. I'm going to show you from another angle in a minute, well, if I can find one, of how good this little strike is. Bosh. He knocks it straight and it takes a deflection. I think the keeper saves it, honestly, if that doesn't take a deflection. Because, then we get this weird ricochet and a bounce, and then it's a foot race to the final ball. Now, here's the interesting thing. I was listening to some idiots chatting, and they were looking at VAR, and they're just so bad, some of these commentary channels. There's a guy clearly over here who's playing everybody onside, and they're talking about the flick and whether or not it makes it. There's a guy over here, he's not playing him onside, he's right here. It's like, how bad are you? Like, honestly, how bad are you guys at football analysis and spotting things in real time? Because if I'm spotting it, they sure as hell can spot it. And I'm not really trying. I was playing some weird game on my phone, Arturo, on the thingy, what's it called? Yeah. So they get the next goal, Bosh, and then they go. But doesn't really take the wind out of Villa's sails. They'll keep fighting on, and they do. And they get themselves a goal later on. But let's get on to the next goal. Before we do though, there's that technique. That's quality. That's what I'm saying. It looks like the keeper may have had it. Bosh. Because it hasn't got that much power on it, really. Travelling. But it's just great technique. Like it. Got to respect it. So I've got to show it. It's not a great highlight here because it doesn't show Villa losing the ball and what they did wrong to be in this situation in the first place. And you can see how stretched they are here. And one of the main things that I get frustrated with, right, you have got nothing to do but mark this player. You have to get closer as you're dropping back. You need to be cutting his run off down here. And who's that Newcastle player? I think his name's Alvaron. Actually, I quite like him because he's an honest footballer. He tries hard. He's always got kind of a smile on his face. I think they were looking at having to go off to Saudi Arabia for financial, to cover financial fair play. But they didn't let him go, and I wouldn't have. Because he's just an honest footballer and I like him. He hasn't got brilliant skill. He's not brilliant at the game, but he just does work hard. Can you see the separation now? What I'm talking about is this guy's drifting further and further away because he's got no reason to back up this guy here. There's no reason for him to get close here because they're on a 2v2 situation and you're on a 1v1, but you're not even covering your man. You're not even aware he's there. You're not even looking. Now he's looked. Oh my God, now it's too late. Now he's got to turn on the jets. And because the separation gap there is too wide, because he slowly, as this guy was running, he was slowly running on an angle like that. And this guy was slowly running on an angle like that, which made the gap just enough for the ball to get delivered and him to get his goal. And this guy to be nowhere near to the challenge here. Look, he's nowhere near. Bosh, nowhere near. And he doesn't have the pace to cover up for his mistake. And it's just a tap in on the back post. Yeah, terrible. Just going to show you from that starting position again of how he could have got closer, but he's drifting over here. And actually, I don't even think this guy's smart enough to make a little curved run. He just ends up running straight, and the other guy doesn't do anything about it. Yeah, he just runs straight, and this guy doesn't do anything about it. But there we go. Let's get on to the last goal. A couple of things to point out for this goal here of Newcastle's high line, which you can play a high line, which is fine if you've got pressure on the ball here. They don't have enough pressure on the ball, and this guy just plays a pass straight out and lets his man run on to the end of it. Yeah, you can't play high lines without enough pressure on the midfield, from the midfield. Otherwise, this happened all the time. When he receives the ball, though, he does a quality first touch, which is all important here. But also, here's the other thing. It can be a bad first touch. Because the ball's gone out wide, and he's got all this space here to run into, if he makes a bad first touch, he's actually okay to recover from it. And that's one of the things you need to do. If you've got players that do have bad first touches, or you're in that, put yourself in a winning situation, where if you do have a bad first touch, it's okay, because you've got space to recover from it, and you can't be tackled. That's kind of what this guy does here, but it doesn't matter. You see what I mean? It's not great, but it's not bad. He ends up drifting away from it, but it's just enough. But what's really impressive is this guy fighting here in the middle. He's fighting with his defender, and he does a quality finish. A lot of, honestly, I think it might be Ollie Watkins, actually. I would check, but, Cash doesn't really do those things. He just really concentrates on the technical stuff, not the names on the backs of the shirts. But I'll tell you right now, this is a quality finish, and this is what you want from a striker, getting in front of his defender and getting onto that near post. The cross isn't the best, but it's not the worst. It's decent, and a guy just gets on the end, and he finishes it past the keeper, which is a really good job. Yeah, gets himself a good goal. But I tell you now, Villa, if they keep playing this way, Newcastle aren't the best at the moment. They've got a lot of injuries. I know some people are coming back, but they're still just an average side in the Premier League, really. Get some good results and some bad ones. But Villa are looking like they're dropping off their good form that they had. We really have to watch their next 3 games, and I'll keep an eye out and let you know what I think where they're going to finish up. But right now, I don't think it's going to be in the top 4. I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.